International relations from the month of July, now ITU2 summit. The leaders of ITU2 have held their first summit about ITU2. Now, ITU2 is a group formed by four nations, that is India, Israel, UAE, and the US. The first summit of ITU2 nations was held in a virtual mode in July 2022. Issues like food security and other areas of cooperations were discussed at the summit. The group members met for the first time under a new framework in October 2021. At that time, the grouping was called International Forum for Economic Cooperation. The ambassador of UAE to India has referred to the new grouping as West Asian Quad. Now, the key takeaways from the summit are integrated food park in India. India will provide land for integrated food park across the country that will be built in collaboration with Israel, United States, and UAE. Now, UAE will invest $2 billion in India to create these food parks backed by technology from US and Israel. India was chosen as the location for the food project because of its proximity to Israel and the UAE, which will help in creating a smooth agriculture supply chain. Hybrid renewable energy projects in Gujarat. Now, ITQ2 group will support a hybrid renewable energy project in Gujarat consisting of 300 megawatts of wind and solar capacity, complemented by a battery energy storage system. The project is expected to be another step in India's quest for 500 gigawatts of non fossil fuel by 2030. Moving on to India Vietnam Defense Partnership towards 2030, India and Vietnam have recently signed the joint vision statement on India Vietnam Defense Partnership towards 2030. Now, the aim is to boost the scope and scale of existing defense cooperations between the two nations. The vision document facilitates both sides to expand avenues for effective and predictable practicable collaborations in bilateral defense engagements pertaining to regional and global issues. This is the first agreement of its kind that Vietnam has entered into with any country. The agreement also elevates the standing of the comprehensive strategic partnership which Vietnam shares with India since 2016, along with only Russia and China. Now, India Vietnam ties, maritime domain, geostrategic cooperation, and defense partnership. So, regarding maritime domain, both countries find convergence in their approach towards the maintenance of stability and security in the Indo-Pacific, which has translated into diplomatic and political support in context of development within the region. Geostrategic collaboration, China's expanding footprint in the Indo Pacific is a concern for both countries. Vietnam, like India, supports freedom of navigation and opposes any threat to sovereign maritime territorial rights. India has not backed down from continuing ONGC Videsh oil exploration projects in Block 128, which is within Hanoi's exclusive economic zone, despite China's protest. Now, defense partnerships. Defense collaborations has grown steadily since signing of Defense Protocol in 2000. Today, it covers extensive Navy-to-Navy cooperation spanning the exchange of intelligence, production and logistics supports for Vietnam's defense requirements, development of naval facilities such as Na Trang, defense dialogues, high-level visits, and supply of warships and cruise missiles. India's Act East policy, maritime multilateralism, maritime security outreach, and building of stronger network across the Indo-Pacific are some of the key elements which have made India and Vietnam natural partners. Moving on to Partners in Blue Pacific Initiative, that is PBP, the US and its allies Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and UK have launched the Partners in Blue Pacific Initiative. It has been launched by US, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and United Kingdoms. It is an informal mechanism to support Pacific Islands and boost diplomatic economic ties in the Pacific region. The objective includes to deliver results for Pacific more effectively and efficiently, to expand cooperation between Pacific and the rest of the world, to focus on bolstering Pacific regionalism. The area where PBP aims to enhance cooperation with the Pacific Islands include climate crisis, connectivity and transportation, maritime security, protection, health, prosperity, and education. China transformation of its ties with the Pacific. China has agreed a security pact with Solomon Islands in April 2022. This deal has raised serious concerns for the US and its allies, as Chinese will be setting up military bases in the southern Pacific close to US island territory of Guam and right next to Australia and New Zealand. Now, China has also signed an agreement called Common Development Vision with the 10 Pacific nations. The agreement speaks about China wanting to work with traditional and non traditional security and expand law enforcement cooperations with these countries. Now, status of BRI projects. The announcement of Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Intelligence by G7 countries had brought focus onto the status of Belt and Road Initiative of China. More than 60 countries have now joined BRI agreements with China. Infrastructure projects under the initiative are being planned or are under construction in Asia, Africa, Europe, and Latin America. However, in recent years, the BRI seems to have experienced a slowdown. The annual Chinese lending to the countries under the initiative have come down from its peak of $12 billion in 2015 to around $50 to $55 billion in 2021. Moreover, the West has accused China of debt trapping by extending predatory loans that force countries to cede key assets to China. Now, progress of BRI in South Asia, Pakistan. China unveiled the BRI's flagship projects and its biggest one in a single country, the China Pakistan Economic Corridor, that is CPEC, in 2015. However, this CPEC has been met with multiple roadblocks, and China seems to have reduced its $62 billion pledge to the project. Now, regarding Sri Lanka, Hambantota Port, which is a deep sea port, was established near the existing busy Colombo port. It was supposed to serve industrial activity. The Sri Lankan government took $1.4 billion Chinese loan for the port's expansion. The project failed to generate expected revenue. Unable to service the huge loan, the government handed Hambantota Port to Chinese state-owned company on a 99-year lease in 2017. Nepal formally joined the BRI initiative in 2017, submitting a list of 35 infrastructure projects. After the Chinese request, Nepal shortlisted 9 projects, including an ambitious Trans Himalayan railroad from Nepal to China, construction of roads, laying of power transmission lines, and hydropower projects. 5 years after signing the framework agreement, work has not been started on any of the 9 projects as of May 2022. Regarding Afghanistan, Afghanistan has not comprehensively been brought into BRI despite a memorandum of understanding to promote BRI projects being signed with China in 2016. Now, Maldives, one of the most prominent BRI projects undertaken in Maldives is a 2-kilometer long Sinhamel Bridge or China Maldives Friendship Bridge. However, Maldives' current regime has tried to distance itself from BRI, focusing more on its India First policy. Regarding Bangladesh, Bangladesh joined BRI in 2016. Multiple studies show that Bangladesh has been able to benefit from BRI while maintaining diplomatic and strategic ties with both India and China. But Bangladesh has also avoided Chinese interference in its internal matter by stressing its sovereign power when China warned it about joining the Quad. That'll be it.